The trolley problem, or would you throw the fat guy off the bridge? So this is a book that was written by Thomas Cathcart about a thought experiment which was first published in a technical philosophy journal in Britain nearly 50 years ago. So this thought experiment became a brain teaser on college campuses, in faculty lounges, at family dining rooms, general interest magazines, as well as academic journals all around the world. The original trolley problem was actually very short and simple. So there's a driver of a runway tram that sees 5 people ahead of the track. He can either allow the tram to stay on the main track, thereby killing them all. For an unstated reason, these people are unable to get off the track. Or he can steer the tram onto a side track where only one person will be hit and killed. So the question was, should he now steer the tram onto a side track, allowing that one person to be killed, or should he just continue on that path, killing 5 people? So this was now the original trolley problem. But then in 1985, an American philosopher by the name of Judith Jarvis expanded this scenario a bit. And then this time, she added that the trolley barreling down the track came out of control, and there is a bystander that is standing alongside the road. So this person have now an option of doing nothing and allowing it to hit and kill the 5 people, or throwing a switch and detouring the trolley so that it hits and kills only one person on the siding. With that being said, should you, as the bystander, do nothing and let fate take its course, or should you pull the switch, causing one person to die but saving 5? So, apart from these two scenarios, there has also been many other scenarios of this whole trolley problem. There was another scenario whereby you are standing on a footbridge over the trolley track. There is no switch, there is no siding, there is only a single track with 5 people on it beyond the footbridge, and they will all be killed if you do nothing. You realize that the only action that can save the 5 people is for you to drop a heavy weight in front of the trolley to stop it. The only object nearby is heavy enough to stop the trolley is a very fat man standing next to you on the footbridge. Should you push him off the bridge in order to save the 5? And is that, or is it not, essentially the same thing as throwing the switch? So now with the trolley man or the trolley driver out of the way, we now have either the bystander or the man on top of the bridge with the only heavy thing next to them, the fat man. So now, many philosophers, psychologists, and brain scientists have been trying to explain why a lot of people would feel justified in pulling the switch, but not throwing the man. More and more trolley scenarios have appeared as trolleyologists have tried to pinpoint exactly what it is that seems different about throwing the switch versus throwing the man. Or are they, in fact, really different at all? The book follows the story of a 27-year-old female Daphne Jones of Oakland in the trolley death of Chester Chef Farry, who was honored by the mayor for showing extraordinary quick witness and valor when she threw a switch and diverted a runaway trolley onto a siding. The trolley would surely have hit and killed 5 people if it had continued on the main track, but instead it killed only Mr. Farley, who was standing on the siding. Of course, Miss Jones could not be found guilty at the time that this crime was committed because, according to the law, killing another person when you kill to protect yourself or another from being killed or suffering great bodily injury does not constitute manslaughter, either voluntary or involuntary. Miss Jones' case was discussed in the Court of Public Opinion, which, according to the authors, is the highest court in the land with the ability to create new law and change constitution. The district attorney, Cleveland Cunningham, summarized the people's case against the defendant, Daphne Jones, and submitted that Miss Jones is therefore guilty of voluntary manslaughter. However, the defense team, led by Miss Baumgarten, contended that Miss Jones should be acclaimed as a heroine because in killing this one man, she saved the lives of 5 other people. The district attorney laid out the argument of the people versus Miss Jones based on a prior case in which a huge majority of people found the defendant guilty of a strikingly similar crime. This prior case is about a doctor, Dr. Rodney Mapes, a trauma surgeon called to the emergency room in a large teaching hospital in Philadelphia. A terrible multi-car collision had just occurred on a nearby interstate highway, and 6 patients had been rushed to Dr. Mapes' hospital. Dr. Mapes quickly determined that 2 patients needed kidney transplants, the third needed a heart transplant, the fourth a liver transplant, and the fifth a lung transplant. Mapes was worrying about where he could possibly find donors for these patients when he discovered that the 6th patient, a 35-year-old male, had been sent to the hospital for observation and had no apparent injuries at all. Mapes then had the young man sent to the operating room, removed all of his organs, and transplanted them into the other 5 patients, thereby saving their lives. At trial, Mapes memorably said, "Well, I figured it was better that 1 patient should die instead of 5. This brings us to the end of our book review. And for discussion purposes, if you were in Miss Jones' position, would you have pulled the switch leading to the death of 1 man, or would you have just stood by and watched the 5 men die? Let me know what you guys think.